Ooh, welcome back to Amazin But True, our New York Mets podcast from the New York Post. Jake Brown, 48-year-old starting pitcher Nelson Figueroa here on the other end. Boy, we got a lot to discuss on today's show. We'll get to Figgie's 119-pitch outing for the Ferryhawks. He is walking right now. He's not in a wheelchair. He made his way from Jersey to New York, so he is here and in the building. He is alive. We'll get to that. Blasterjaxx is going to join us. Talk about timing. Our guy Brandon London started the Edwin Diaz challenge, so we joined in. You'll see me running, which is a sight to behold in its own, in our own Edwin Diaz challenge. And Blasterjaxx, the creators, Timmy Trumpet won't join us, but Blasterjaxx from the song Narco, Edwin Diaz's electric entrance music, is going to join us later in the show for an exclusive interview. Will they be showing up to Citi Field is the big question. Hopefully we get some visa things worked out. Maybe it happens, but tune in to hear about that. Those highlights you heard courtesy of SMY. Andrew Hart's along with us back in the palatial New York Post studios where we will be eating chicken parm or bananas. The story of the banana just lives on. I can't keep it on screen for too long because then it'll fixate people's eyes looking at the banana. Oh. But Figgie, man, come get us. The New York Mets are better than you are, and you just got to deal with it at this point. And this weekend was just another example of how good this team is, how resilient this team is. Guys go down, two guys in one inning the other night, and they still find a way to win. They win 1-0 behind Jacob deGrom in front of the biggest crowd in Citi Field history, Figgie, and the 8th biggest crowd in the history of the regular season at Citi Field, 43,847. You were lucky to even get a standing room on Saturday. The crowds were electric. They took 2 out of 3. The only loss came in the 10th inning, a game they probably could have won if they didn't send Marte maybe there in that 9th inning. Didn't love that send, or if Marte chose it. But this team is better than you. It's not lucky hits. Spencer Strider, I hope they hit his ass hard on Monday night. I hope they hit him hard. But this team is for real. This team is legit. This team is good. And they look like a World Series bound team, man. It is so fun to watch this team every night.
Yeah, we thought it was just a two-headed monster of Scherzer and deGrom, but I mean Bassett has pitched unbelievable over 20 innings here.
24 straight
scoreless now. He's a student of the game. I know he's a little bit older. People didn't know who he was when he was out in Oakland, but he's such a student of the game. He's watching what these other guys are doing. And can you mimic a 101-mile-an-hour fastball? No. Can you mimic, Scherzer's ability to throw that change-up slider combination nonstop? No. But what he can do is take notes on which guys are aggressive, which guys swing and miss at certain pitches. And he did that. He just showed how he can pitch under pressure as well. He had guys in scoring position with nobody out and got out of jams. That's something that, as a number 3 starter, that's something that aces normally do regularly. And he's doing it as a number 3 starter. Of course, Taijuan Walker, you still got Cookie Carrasco. You got all these weapons still in that starting rotation. The bullpen, they're not having to work nearly as hard because these guys are going deeper and deeper into ball games and challenging hitters. It can be fun. If you were the Phillies this weekend, look at what that run production looked like. Going against those 3 starters, and I think the rest of the not just National League, but the rest of baseball needs to watch out.
2 runs total in the weekend. One was not earned because they had the automated runner at second base. 1 earned run all weekend from the Mets. I mean, it's just absurd to think about. And deGrom goes 6. You hold your breath. Bullpen closes the door. Obviously, Diaz does his thing to Narco coming out. 75-40 with 47 games to go. This team is on pace for over 100 wins. Figgy, in 47 games, they want to win 100 games. Do the math there. They'd have to go 25-22 to put them at 162. That's pretty damn doable. And it begins with 4 against the Braves and Spencer Strider Monday. And there's a certain Conor McGregor strut right now. I'm in the streets of Queens, Astoria. Everywhere I go, I see Mets jerseys. I see Mets gear, and I usually give a head nod. I hate when people are looking down or look the other way. I'm nodding awkwardly, and they're just looking in another direction. But I'm walking around just strut. I mean, how could you not love being a fan of this team? And regular season wins and regular season record is important to us. And people hating on us, people saying it's lucky hits, lucky this won't happen in October. Bring it. We're feeding off this trash talk. And it's been so long since this team, think about this, Figgy. 2006 wasn't truly dominant the whole way. 2015, that was a late run. 2016 was wild card. 2000 was a wild card team. They didn't win the division that year. This is 86-like because of how they're have a shot to run away with the division. And that's why we're strutting. That's why we're celebrating. That's why we're enjoying it. Because it's few and far in between where this team is this good in the regular season. It's usually late runs or a trip to the wild card and a late October run.
You got to be careful, though, with saying run away with the division. Because with all the winning that they're doing, remember, the last 19 games, they're 16-3. 16-3 in their last 19 games, and they still are only 5.5 games above the Braves. So the Braves are still playing high-caliber baseball, which is what we assumed that the National League East was going to be. The Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies, as they bolstered their team with more offense. And I'm not going to get into the good.
Still bad defense. Keith is rolling over not having to watch.
But it's funny because the Mets have more errors than the Phillies do. So by numbers wise, but I think that's just like a nice head game.
Possible?
That is just a great head game for Keith to play right there, because now all the fans are pissed off. The players are pissed off about it in Philadelphia about our fundamentals, and they start looking at numbers and looking at statistics, and already you're in their head about it. So when you see plays like we saw the McNeil scoring on that,
they look like they were at Marquee Saturday night. I mean, what was that play?
That's one of those things where it just takes a little bit of gamesmanship, and Keith is great with that, because you think Keith went in there and looked at the numbers and the actual numbers? No, he just said, you know what I know about this team? It's their bullpen more than anything. We know that about the Phillies. There's no way to even try to refute that. But when you start talking about their defense a little bit, or calling out maybe some of their star players, if you just get on Alex Bohm a little bit too much, you remember what happened with him in Philadelphia, where he's like, I hate this place. So he made some good plays. They played a much better brand of baseball. They were very close games, but the Mets were just that much better. And so that's what you want to be able to do, is kind of, even when you're not at your best, even when you're not at your peak, and you're not just dominating, scoring 6-7 runs a game. They didn't score many runs, but they won 2 out of the 3, and they could have had a chance to win all 3 of those.
I was ready to play the clown music on that McDavid. I mean, the center fielder bobbles it. It's rolling there. Then they throw in a second. Segura is lollygagging in the park looking at, I don't know, the pastrami in right field. I don't know where he was looking. And then McNeil takes off, and then the catcher drops it. Real mood. I mean, that was the bad news Phillies.
Yeah.
I was like, how did McNeil just score? And I'm like, oh, it's the Phillies defense, and it's why Keith Hernandez. People thought Keith took off for that reason. He did have the Cardinals ceremony for honoring their World Series team, so that's why. It wasn't because they played the Phillies. But
I love people are like, oh, it's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. They're trying to hide Keith. Yeah, they're hiding Keith. Have you ever met Keith? Keith doesn't hide from many people.
Yeah, maybe that's a sign of me and you just crumbling over here. As we'll fix that later. But man, great weekend. The Mets 9-2 in the homestand. They've won 17 of the last 20. They're just rolling right now. But the Braves, the Mets are headed to Atlanta. They're headed to get the fresh Chick-fil-A and the not so fresh Spencer Strider on Monday night. Got some good pitching matchups, and every night's a good pitching matchup if you're a Mets pitcher, because their ERAs are all sub-2 since July 1st, besides Walker, but that's inflated because where he gave up the 8 runs. Yeah. Sub-2, all these guys. Carrasco, Strider, Walker, Morton, Scherzer, Odorizzi, and then DeGrom versus TBD on Thursday. You got to love the old TBD, a good friend of ours, friend of the program, TBD. Those matchups, I mean, every matchup's going to favor the Mets every day, and that's why we're excited about this team. And even through the adversity, even through the injuries, listen, Luis Guillorme has a groin injury. He could go to the IL. We might see Brett Beatty here soon. Mike Puma said the Mets aren't ruling up calling Brett Beatty. This team's already fun to watch, and usually we're like, all right, season's over. Let's just watch the prospects now. Now to have a championship caliber team, and Beatty, who's 8 for 22 so far in AAA, a first-round pick, just 22 years old, to have him come up and join an already fun bunch is another fun storyline for this team right now.
Well, I mean, remember when Conforto came up? It was a breath of fresh air for this team.
It was 2015, right?
2015, yeah. And during that kind of that same thing where they were turning it around. They were turning around. They got that one young bat that nobody really knew how to figure out. And what Conforto didn't disappoint. He took away Michael Kadyr's job, and Michael Kadyr sat back like a good veteran that he was, and kind of just mentored him. Playing the outfield or what pitches to look for. And Michael Conforto just kept. I remember he was just so free and easy, letting the hands loose and just smashing balls all over the place. He dented the foul pole in Los Angeles. I mean, he hit the ball so damn hard, and that was definitely something where you were inspired about what was to come in the future for the Mets when you had a guy like Michael Conforto joining, all those pieces that came to work. This team is, of course, different. They've been the same almost since day one. trade deadline went by and they added some pieces, and Vogelback has been everything that you would hope.
A god, literally a god.
He's been everything that you hoped, and he's just fun to watch. And
I want a donut now.
He's just one of those guys that, man, you root for him. You root for this guy because you realize how hard he plays the game. This isn't. There's nothing fake about this guy. It's not false hustle. He takes some big swings. He puts the ball in play. He runs hard. And he has fun doing it. He makes it a fun atmosphere. Naquin has been a godsend as well. He's hitting the ball at 7 RBIs since he's been here in only 12 games. Everybody, I mean, and I keep going back to it, and I know I do every show, but we harped on how bad Lindor was last year. You got to sing this man his praises because he is an RBI machine.
Most RBIs for shortstop in Mets history, 82.
And while you're sitting back, and the MLB leader is Pete Alonso, he's been every bit as good since the Subway Series. Almost, I think he has 2 RBIs less than Pete Alonso, and that's what you need for that guy. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be home runs. We're not looking for, like Aaron Judge is carrying that team with 9 home runs, but the rest of the team hasn't been able to produce runs. They haven't been able to get on, move guys over, do the little things. There's been a lot of swing and miss. And now when you look at what the Mets have been able to do since day one, put the ball in play, keep the line moving, and you don't care about the name behind you. Nobody cares about who the names are because Mark Canha will come up and get an RBI single. You got Jeff McNeil batting lower down in the lineup. He's pushing in RBIs as well. He's back over 300 again. So I just think it's a fun bunch that's really believing in themselves. They're confident, and the pieces that they did add just fit right in.
Hit them where they ain't, Figgy. Enough of the lucky. This won't happen in October. Come get us. We are the best team in the NL East. We're coming for you, Dodgers. We'll see you at Citi Field coming up. We got the Subway Series next week as well. A tough stretch here. 4 against the Braves, 4 against the Phillies, 2 against the Yankees. A 10-game stretch that we'll learn a lot more about this team. And then the week after, 3 against the Dodgers. Listen, if you could sweep the Dodgers, I mean, you get this within 2 of the Dodgers. Home field throughout would be incredible because the Mets have showed home field, and when Diaz comes in, the Trumpets, this team is feeding off the energy at the ballpark, and this place was packed all weekend. Met some fun people, met these 2 ladies who, they have a scrapbook for every game they go to. I had my 46th game on Sunday. They were at their 46th game, and they had a scrapbook of every game they go to in ballpark and take notes what happened in the game. My mom would love that. Big scrapbooker. So shout out to them. I forgot their names, but they're going to listen to the show now. So now they'll call me out because I forgot. I'm just bad with names. But very nice ladies. I think one was Denise, maybe. Cheryl.
And the nephew?
I don't know. Denise and the nephew. I like that. This was a fun weekend. And listen, they really should have swept. I mean, I wouldn't have sent Marte there. Marte probably should have stayed. That was shallow. I get it. He's fast.
Like, he's fast. He should have slid head first. Then he pops his shoulder out and you lose him for 2 months. You know what? He went in aggressive. He went in hard. He slid feet first. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And he was out.
I want Vogelback to truck a catcher. That's what I'm waiting for. It's not legal, right? I guess
it is legal still.
Is it still legal?
It is absolutely legal if that's what happens, if there's a collision, but you can't go out of your way to collide with the catcher. Okay. So if the catcher is not, right on top of home plate, blocking home plate, if you block home plate, you can get run over. If you are, giving a lane and you get run over, that's different. They'll call you out automatically. So
big caffeine guy. He's a big coffee drinker. He told the Barstool Mets podcast, he had a good interview, and he's saying he has 10 cups of coffee. How many cups do you do? Are you in the Phil Regan?
No. I'm 2-3 max, but I think it's more it's a routine that you have. Like my dad drinks it before he goes to bed at 11 o'clock at night. He makes a big cup of coffee, and it's Bustelo coffee, so it's espresso type coffee. So that's the real deal, and he sleeps just fine. And I was raised that way, so it's not a caffeine thing like, I can't have caffeine past 5 o'clock. I won't be able to sleep. It's never been that. It's just it just tastes good and soothing.
You ever have it at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday before throwing 119 pitches in Gastonia, North Carolina, at 48 years old with a hip replacement? Is that, you ever drink coffee then?
I definitely did. I drank coffee, and I drank a lot of anything that said electrolyte on it or electrolytes or anything that said that it would help me survive the weather down there. It was hot as all hell. Actually, I had to borrow spikes. I had to borrow a glove. I didn't have a spikes or a glove. So
was that your jersey? What number were you?
That wasn't even my jersey. That wasn't even my jersey.
What number were you?
I'm 28. But we were using our alternate jersey, and I forgot to bring the alternate jersey with me. As a coach, I usually can wear a sweater on top of it. I didn't think I was going to be playing at any point, so I wound up wearing 23. and I borrowed a pair of spikes. And the pair of spikes I borrowed were these lightweight material Nikes that apparently don't have a lot of cushion in them. And so when I'm standing on the turf, it was so hot that the spikes themselves were heating up. And so I got done with the first inning, and I took them off in the dugout, and I gave it back to the guy, and he grabbed them, and he shook his hands like, oh, my God, these are blazing hot. I'm like, yeah. I go, there's no cushion in them. All I'm getting is heat from transference from the mound onto the shoe, and my feet are on fire. So I had to change out of those. I put in a different pair of spikes in the second inning. It was crazy. It was an hour before the game, and I decided that I wanted to save my bullpen because they had already worked hard during the Lancaster trip, and we were going to play the first-place team down in Gastonia, and I wanted to just throw as many pitches as I could, as long as I could, and just not use anybody else. That was the plan, and that part of it worked.
And I don't think a lot of people realize the game didn't matter. It goes to the first half of the season.
Correct.
In the Atlantic League, it's the first half of the season. Winner plays second half of the season. This was a makeup, rain out, weather. You had all sorts of funky weather.
Right. It was from
fog out.
It was a Staten Island game. Like, we were supposed to play this in Staten Island.
So you guys were the home team.
Correct.
So while you saw Figgie pitch the top of the inning instead of the bottom of the inning, because you were home, Gastonia, there were like -4 people in the crowd, no one there. Did you have hecklers at all? Did anyone heckle you?
No, actually, it was so much support. I've never given up so many runs and gotten so much love and support from from fans, radio people. I got phone calls, Twitter messages.
Viral. It was Figgie viral.
It was funny because one of the guys on the team goes, "Oh my God, you made it all the way to Texas!" And then I showed him my phone that had the article in Taiwan. In Chinese, I go, I get it all the way to Taiwan just for doing what I did. I go, but that wasn't the reason I did it. I was Gastonia on a Tuesday. I wasn't planning on this going viral. I just wanted to help the team out, and it was fun to go out there and compete again. It was fun to I struck out 2 of the first 3 guys I faced and had some illusions of grandeur and kept trying to throw an 83-mile-an-hour fastball by people.
Were you throwing 83 because our guy Johnny Wincott, shouted to him on the broadcast. I think Gastonia had the video. Johnny had the audio. I did the audio with Johnny. He's great. He said you were throwing 83, but I didn't see. There was like one person behind home, and he did not have a radar. So I'm like, how do they know it's 83?
It's not even on it's on the board that they have it. And I was 86, 85 in the first inning. I finished up at 83 still, but I also changed from throwing a straight fastball to throwing sinkers, trying to keep the ball in the ballpark. That day wind was blowing straight out. A couple of pop-ups got out for home runs, and I was like, you know what? I got to try and really keep this our team in the game no matter what, and changed to throwing some sinkers, had some movement on the ball, got some ground balls, some missed opportunities to turn double plays because I ran in the way of double play. I got called off at the last second, so I pulled my hands back and the ball went past me. A run scored on that. We just a little bit of sloppy play by us, but again, it was a game that didn't matter. No, it wasn't excuses. It's just they don't know how fast I am or not. And so it was a learning experience.
Well, the first inning you were good. You gave up an unearned run.
Yeah.
And then the rest was just a mess. Let's just go over the line because I got it. 10 hits, 10 runs, 8 earned. 8 earned, not 10 earned. And 4 strikeouts, 2 of them in the first inning. I admit, I actually was like laying down watching, kind of fell asleep in the middle of it. I was tired. It was a long day. And I got a little sleepy. And then I had to catch up, go rewind on the YouTube. So you got 2 strikeouts later in the game at some point. I got to say, either you have really baggy pants or you just have no ass. Because not that I was looking at your butt, but when you're
that's exactly what it sounds like.
When you're pitching, you see it was like baggy, and I was like, damn, Figgie's got to hit the – because I had got no ass either. So I was like, Figgie's got to do some squats.
Those were a size 40 pants that I had to take out of the extra.
Hearts, did you notice he had no ass going? Did you see any of the video while you were traveling the globe?
No, I was not looking at Figgie's ass, Jake.
Okay. It's only you, Jake. But yes,
it's a great one-liner.
Size 40 pants. Size 40 pants. Not even my jersey. Not my glove. Not my spikes.
I'm like a 40.
Exactly.
Dietitian.
So, if it ever happened again, I'd be a little bit more prepared. But I think it was all in all, it was fun to get out there and fun to go out there and compete. And there was a couple of guys on that team. Again, they're the best offense in the league. Of course, they're going to hit a 48-year-old guy around the ballpark a little bit. But got some compliments from. Like I said, I got compliments from everybody. And one of the guys is
not for your ass, for your pitching.
Yeah. So Jake. So a guy named Jake Skoll. Jake Skoll, if you look it up, he was drafted ahead of Trout. He's drafted ahead of Mike Trout. He's in the league.
Sounds like he does a lot of dip.
It would be a great promotion. But this guy's he's jacked, left-handed bat. He swings the hell out of it. And he saw me the day after, and he goes, "I got to tell you something." I go, "What's that?" He goes, I don't care what the radar gun was saying. He goes, "That wasn't 83 miles an hour." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Nobody's been able to get underneath the label of my bat." So, you have the barrel of the bat, which is towards the end. You have the label, like the trademark of whatever brand it is. And the ball, I got a couple balls in on his hands that far in and got a couple of outs on him. And then he walked back to the dugout, and they were all laughing at him. They're like, "Oh, my God, 83 just blew you up." And he's like, "That's not 83. There's no way that's freaking 83. And that's one of the things that I used to always say about myself is that it didn't matter what the velocity set up on the radar gun, that I threw a sneaky fastball, live fastball. I could set up my fastball. I just didn't have any other weapons. It's been a while since I had to throw a curveball. I can't snap off a 12-6 curveball at 48.
You weren't in pain? Like, you're 48 and you had a hip replacement. Like, you were fine the whole game.
The hip was fantastic. The hip was titanium, so there was no problem with the hip. The shoulder, no problem. I play catch every day with these guys, and these guys will tell you I long toss with 2 or 3 of them just to get their throwing in, because a lot of guys like to stay short and just stay ready if they're going to be in the game or not. So if a guy needs a long toss, I'm the guy they long toss
with.
Did
Fonzie stop you every inning, say, "You got to go another,
no,
you got to go"? You were just like, "Get away from me."
No, he never came over to me at all.
He didn't care if your arm fell off. He was like, we need a pitcher today.
I got done with the 7th inning, and I came into the dugout, and he gave me a hug, and then he blew up on his screen. He blew up my pitch count, and he shows me 119, and he just shakes his head like, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
What was the most you threw in the big leagues?
Big leagues.
More than that?
Yeah, I used to do 119 all the time with the Mets. Thank God, because Jerry Manuel was trying to kind of promote me while I was pitching for the Mets. And I threw that complete game shutout at the end of the season because of Jerry Manuel. He said to me, "There is no pitch count on you today. It's the last game of the season. You're going to go as long as you can." And I believe that game was 120 some odd pitches, maybe 123, something like that. But that's still not the most I've ever thrown. I did it in Dominican Republic, same reason. We're in the championship series. It's 5 out of 9. I said, "I'm going to pitch the whole game." We were up by like 7, 8 runs in the 2nd inning. I told the manager, "Rest the bullpen because we still got 2, 3 more games to play. I'm going to go the whole thing." And I went like 163 pitches. And that was just something that I was blessed with a rubber arm, even though I had surgery. But I mean, I pitched for 40 years, damn near 40 years, 35 years. And besides that rotator cuff surgery in 2004, I bounced back better, threw harder, and threw more innings in the second half of my career than the first.
And you texted me, and they shared on NY1 actually that you said, "Oof, we'll be sore tomorrow." Were you sore the next day?
Let me tell you something. It felt like the rest of my arm was good. My arm was sore, of course. I worked it, but it was just like that normal, that good sore after you pitched. But the rest of my body felt like I was in a car accident, bro. Like,
tell me no,
the left side of my body was so sore. My calves were sore. Like all the little muscles that you're not used to using, like my quads and my thighs, those were good. My hamstrings were good. My hips were fine,
but not good.
My back, my lower back was tight and stiff. My gluteus maximus was really sore. But the problem of the whole thing was I remember thinking, I'm okay. And, you don't ever want to show like how bad you're hurting. I went to laugh and I couldn't laugh. I let out all the air laughing because it was just like, oh my God, that hurts so
That's me when
bad.
I did burpees on the Citi Field scoreboard. I couldn't move for a week or laugh for a week.
There you go. So like my rib cage was just really sore. So all my little turning muscles, everything that was not used to going, full effort. It'd been 8 years since I went. I played in a men's league like in 2020 during COVID, and I got to pitch there a little bit, which thank goodness is how I learned how to revamp my sinker, and that saved me from it being 20 runs in that game. But I think that, if it was something that I was really entertaining and people keep writing to me like, "Oh, can't wait to see your next game," there might not be a next game, okay? Let's get real. It's 48 years old. Hopefully I don't have to because the team's doing well enough that we're in playoff contention.
Question. Why wasn't this in Staten Island? And I would think before your September 18th finale that you'll pitch, if you're allowed to, especially if you guys are out of it, which it's looking like you're not going to win the second half at this point unless you go on a win streak.
That's what we're doing.
Or if you're pitching for the other team every night, then you guys will be the best team in the league if you pitch for the other team every day.
I plan on, but it would be a huge possibility if we're mathematically eliminated at that point. I think I was going to do it anyway. I was planning on doing 1 inning so that I could say I pitched professionally for 4 decades.
Why not?
And so I was going to do 1 inning. So if I kept it to 1 inning and was an unearned run and 2 out of 3 strikeouts, it would have been a great story.
Yeah.
But I
0
decided.
ERA.
Yeah,
Now
I decided.
69 ERA.
Whoa! It's not 69. That was how many strikes I threw. Yeah. But I think now what I'm looking forward to do is maybe go out there in front of the home crowd because everybody says I owe them. That was the best part. I got back to Staten Island the first thing. You owe us, Figueroa. I'm like, oh, my God, what did I do? I didn't do this on purpose. This wasn't a planned event. This was you know what? If the only option we have is to throw somebody out there as a sacrificial lamb, so be it. It'll be me.
That was the nice thing you did, 69 strikes. Very nice. It's almost like you had that planned in advance. But, yeah, it needs to happen in Staten Island. I'll make my second trip there again and hopefully hit the batting cage before. And maybe I'll come up for the other team. If they could hit you, I can hit you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You and your father, I'll take you both on at the same time.
That's right. If you heard last week, the voicemail. Quickly here, show us with the ball. You're still in pain. I'll hand it to you like a running back. When Zach Wilson getting out for the year,
I don't trust you throwing anything.
Show us the grips of your pitches. Hearts, let's get this. Let's get the grips of your pitches that you threw so we know.
I own
48-year-old Figgie.
I legit threw 3 pitches, and all I did was change grips on my 4-seam fastball.
4-seamer.
Right. That was 4-seam fastball. Then I went to my 2-seam fastball, but I started to tuck my thumb underneath so that when I threw it, it turned over this way. So I threw this part of the baseball down, and I had the good movement. And then I literally threw a couple split fingers. Threw a couple of these split fingers, and I couldn't reach the plate. They were good, but I couldn't reach the plate. And I'm like, all right, effort-wise, can I continue to throw split fingers as hard as I can and not reach with them? They were just bouncing too much, and I didn't have time to make an adjustment. I haven't worked on it. So then I was just throwing a cutter, my little cutter, where
you
I
had
just
4
turned the ball.
pitches?
I had 6 when I played.
Yeah, but was the catcher putting down 1, 2, 3, 4?
The catcher didn't put down any signs.
That's what I noticed. I was like, why isn't he putting a sign down?
Because I'm old and I can't see between his legs which fingers he's putting in. So we went with
his glasses on mid-first inning.
We went. So I avoided that, and I went with
4 pitches with no counter to tell you which pitch was coming.
What I would do is I told him if I shook off, it was a fastball. So if he put down something, and the way he was putting it down was that he would put down he would use one hand to give a sign, or one hand to do a movement, or he would put the glove wherever he wanted the ball, and that meant there would be a fastball in that location. And that's all we did.
You didn't really throw any ephyses, though. I wanted to see like a 40-mile-an-hour.
Well, that was the funny part, right? Because I go, you know what? I can make a mockery of this and just lob it in every single pitch. Like, you see a guy doing like the 9th inning in the big leagues, 40 miles an hour. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to be somewhere in between that. All I want to do is I want to just go out there and compete. And I did that in the 1st inning. And then I was, like I said, I started to get too full of myself and said, oh, I could maybe do this again. And then I got whacked around. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be trying to do this.
Yeah, one of those homers just landed now.
No, it didn't. Yeah, no, it didn't. So we at the end of the day, it was fun to do it. I think there's only so much that you can say to pitchers, and rather than show them. So like I'm able to now show them some of the things. Like I can go back on the video and be like, remember I'm trying to get this guy to learn how to throw a slider. All you got to do is this: get the guy to reach for the ball and then pitch the ball in. Just the way I was kind of moving the ball around and trying to set people up. They were being aggressive, and thank you. I got to thank them. They were trying to swing at the first 2 pitches, and whether it was hard contact or get them out, that's usually my theory. It's 3 pitches or less, so you keep the game moving. So I think they got the gist when they realized I was a 48-year-old pitcher. The best part was hitting. When I got up to the plate, and the lefty was pitching, and I fouled off 3 pitches like right above our dugout. And I felt like I had some good swings, and I felt better with the bat in my hand than I ever did because I feel like I'm way thicker than I was when I was playing. I was 150 pounds. So I'm 205 now, and I was like, okay, maybe if I can get a hold of one in this little bandbox. And I'm swinging, I'm really late. I look up, and it was 87. I'm like, Jesus, that's really hard.
You had some bad way. You look like me out there.
I struck out. Without
the home run punch out.
I struck out because I told the catcher, I go, I'm 48 years old. I don't want to get on base on a walk, so I'm swinging at everything. Throw fastballs.
Yeah, you were swinging at balls.
But I struck out the first at bat. But the second and third at bat, I put the ball in play. I had a high chopper that the guy made a nice little play on. Then the last one I hit it. My exit velo was harder than I threw, so it was 92 miles an hour off the bat. And then that was one of the things I loved. I got to see some of the metrics. They didn't have these metrics when I played. So, I'm 20 years older than when, I was 28 years old, and those metrics would have been a lot different. But I was able to see some spins and how the ball moves and understand what those things correlate to, because now I did it and I can actually see it compared to some of my pitchers, and they were laughing because they were like, that's incredible that at 48 you're making the ball still move like that.
I was hoping at one point Johnny Wincott or the PA announcer would start calling bingo numbers for you to your age, maybe ARP 69. G48.
No, I think, again, it was fun to do. And at the end of the day, I think more so than anything, I realized that Fonzie and me are only 6 months apart.
Next, he's got to, that's crazy. He needs to come into a game next. That's got to be the next
step. I
step.
didn't realize that. I thought I was doing a service, doing the duty for the older guy and saying, hey, I'm gonna bite the bullet here. And then I realized afterwards that he's only 6 months older than me. I had, in my head, he was at least 5 years old.
Well, he's an old timers day. You're not. We'll be there. We'll do the live show at Ebbs Brewing Co. after the game.
I got to wait 5 years now to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, honestly, if Josh Tolley is in the old timers game, you might as well be. I mean, Josh Tolley, just because he caught a no-hitter, he sucked. I mean, come on. I mean, sorry, Josh.
It's not an all-star game, Jake.
I know, but.
So, you know what? This is the first one. So be it.
It's fine. They have a lot of guys. I mean, I'm excited. We're going to talk to a lot of them. We'll do the podcast at Ebbs. Hearts, what do you got for Figgy?
I mean, Ric Flair actually fought his last professional wrestling match. So do you feel like you got that out of your system, like wanting to pitch again in a professional setting? Do you feel similar?
If it could have been scripted, like Ric Flair's, his exit, it's a little different. Like, again, I wanted to do 1 inning. And if I would have done 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, and an unearned run, man, that's a great walk-off, right? That's like, man, could you imagine if I was actually really doing this? At 48, no, that was plenty. Again, for the home fans, I would do it. I love competing. I still do. I think that's the part that I will never give up on. But at the end of the day, now I got to wait till I'm 50, 8 years from now? So 56. When I'm 56, we'll be able to pitch in 5 decades. So that'll be I guarantee you that will be maybe one at bat kind of outing. But it's something, I always kept looking for a little bit of a goal, a little bit of something. So as I played, it was, get to be 30, get to be 35, get to be 40 and still getting paid to play baseball. At 48, I got paid to play baseball. Not a lot, but I was there.
He threw a complete game shutout at Citi Field, and he completely got shut out in Gastonia. A decade. What year was that? 2009? 2008. No,
9. It was 9.
2009.
It was 9.
13 years later, back on the hill, complete 7-inning game. How the times have changed in the doubleheader. Again, you could see the full version of this show on YouTube. Subscribe to the New York Post Sports YouTube. Anything that's now in the audio, you'll get there. Mets, 4 games against the Braves. Congrats on your 119 pitches. I'll shake your hand for that. That was an impressive number. I was proud of that. And here's the Ron Darling bobblehead from the weekend, by the way.
Almost there.
We have one more, Gary, to get the 3 of 3 collection. Mets Braves, 4 games, then Mets Phillies, 4 games, 75-40. It feels good to be a Mets fan. And Figgy on the mound. What a week! What a week! We'll hopefully do more shows come playoff time. But again, Ebbs Brewing Co. after Old Timers Day, right after the actual game. So like 10:30, 11. Come to Ebbs, come hang out, and we'll have a lot of interviews with the Old Timers. Well, we haven't got to the stars of the show for this show, and they're coming up next. It's the dynamic duo Thom and Idir from Blasterjaxx. That's right, the artist of Narco, Edwin Diaz entrance music. They're coming up next on Amazin But True. All right, we got a special guest, I should say 2 guests here, a dynamic duo on Amazin But True, Jake Brown, Nelson Figueroa. Now, if you've been to Citi Field, if you I hope you haven't lived under a rock, you've seen the song Narco, Edwin Diaz's entrance music. SNY has bolstered it by having a camera follow him to the mound. And no matter where you are in this country, in whatever country, you feel the energy. And these guys are the reason, basically, this happened. And that would be Blasterjaxx. We're here with Thom, Jongkind, and Idir Makhlaf, the dynamic duo of Blasterjaxx. They are a electro house, big room house duo. They make bangers that you're bobbing your head to, and Narco is one of them. Idir, Thom, welcome to Amazin But True. Glad to have you on. How are you?
We're good. Thank you very much for inviting us. This is quite a new thing for us, but I already love it.
Yeah, now you guys you're in the Netherlands, both of you right now.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool. And you guys travel the world, you tour around the world, and you notice a spike to the streams, I would say, on Spotify. I think you're like top 3 viral Spotify charts. and you realize it's Narco and Edwin Diaz. I mean, how cool has it been, this roller coaster ride from the song coming out in 2017 to slowly starting to blow up, and now the millions and millions of streams and Shazams you're getting from people at the stadium to the song blowing up now?
Yeah, it's insane. It's really out of this world, basically, especially since it's a track, like you mentioned, that's been out for 5 years already. Like usually when you release a track, you have that buzz, or it needs like half a year maximum, and then the peak of the buzz. And now after 5 years, it's rising up again. And it's great. And it's especially great that the music is connecting a different kind of people, not per se people that would come to our shows or listen to our music in the first place, but still get in touch with the song via sports. That's a great thing. It's pretty unreal the last 2 weeks how this track is doing, how the interaction is going online.
Yeah, for us, I can tell you right now, as a former athlete, when that song comes on, the game is over. That's what you signify that with. We had at our ballpark, the other team was winning at the time, and they played that song, and I looked up at our people playing, and I'm like, what are you doing? That's the ending song. That means the game's over. We're trying to make a comeback here. And right now, that is the hottest song out there. It's up there right now, synonymous with Enter Sandman for Mariano Rivera, Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, some of the all-time great closers in the game. That's got to be a tremendous feeling. And like you said, when you're traveling the world and you're making new music and new content every 3 weeks, for that to blow up and still be blowing up, and I'm telling you right now, it's not going to stop blowing up well into the playoffs and World Series when the Mets have their way with the rest of baseball.
Yeah, that's insane. Absolutely. Also, yeah, being like named in the other walk-on songs, that's crazy. I think we only realized it once we have been in the stadium and seen the whole, action live and the track being played out live. That I think that's the moment when we would definitely realize what's happening.
And Idir, both of you weren't into really baseball, right? Have you got more into it now? Like, have you started following Edwin Diaz stats and when he comes in, or do you just get people sending you videos? Look, another entrance video.
Well, it's actually funny because, yeah, what you said, we have not been into baseball at all before. We played it when we were young. In school, just an hour a week or something like that. But basically that's it. But nowadays I just follow like Edwin Diaz. I follow like all baseball accounts and everything on Instagram. So I kind of like get the feeling of how big it is. Yeah, that's actually really funny.
And have you talked more to Edwin Diaz? I know you guys have had brief DMs and social interactions. Have you talked to him? Would you like to soon meet him? What's been that interaction like?
Well, yeah, like you said, a lot of DMs, or a couple of DMs, vice versa. But due to some reporters where we had interviews with, like some messages got like transferred to one another all the time. It's pretty cool, old school. So like, I believe we made like a video message when we were in Ibiza in Spain for him. He got it showed, and then he replied back in a video message, which we found back on Twitter. So that's how it goes at the moment. It has its charm, actually. It's pretty cool like this. And yeah, to meet him would be absolutely great. Yeah.
Have the Mets reached out to you? So there was a report that Timmy Trumpet would be coming August 28th to Citi Field. That got shot down quick. I guess he is also on tour. Have the Mets reached out to you? Have anyone reached out to you and Timmy Trumpet to perform this song at Citi Field? Because if this doesn't happen before the first week of November when the Mets are playing in the World Series, I think we'll all be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, first of all. There are talks about things. I have to be very careful with this. The point is, like, as you might know, for Europeans and everyone non-US, working on your visa might take a while. It's a pretty bureaucratic procedure. So we are in the middle of that. We are still waiting for that. So hopefully when everything falls in place, there might be a chance that something could happen. But like I said, it's very premature right now.
So you're in talks with the Mets, have reached out to you and said, come out here. Steve Cohen's worth $14 billion. So he'll wipe his ass with the private jet to get you to America and get you to Citi Field. He'll get a helicopter to put you on the field with Timmy Trumpet. So I want to make sure this happens.
If you make it happen, you're going to be in a helicopter and a jet with us. So
all right, I'm in. I want the news to be broken here when we know the date, because everyone got excited that August 28th is happening, and then once that got shot down, everyone's like, all right, let's just do it for the playoffs, because the energy for playoffs would be insane.
Don't let Jake do the negotiations either, because if Jake is doing the negotiations, he's promising a lot of things, and Chick-fil-A will be involved and a whole lot of other things. But more so than anything, man, I think it's incredible for you guys to be touring the world and then taking the opportunity with us to be on our podcast right now. The fans are eating this thing up, and we just talked a little bit before the show. Where did you guys just perform this weekend?
This weekend we're in Berlin, Germany, and in Hungary on a boat party. So that was the weekend, yeah, and actually the whole week in total was like, boat party, yeah, that was wild. Other than that, we did Ibiza, Spain on last Wednesday, and on Monday we just came back from Vancouver. So it's quite a travel this week. But hey,
jealous.
It's all good.
So jealous.
What I find interesting, guys, is that this song Narco was originally supposed to be with a flute, and the flute to the trumpet. I mean, talk about going. Not that a flute's a zero. I played the clarinet in marching band. What a loser I was back in the day. But the flute's cool and it works on songs. But for an entrance song for a closer, the trumpet took this thing to another level. I mean, it's just a majestic sound. Now, I read that was your first time you met up with Timmy and you made that happen. But what that did to the song is take it to a whole nother level.
Absolutely, there's nothing more to add to that, and it's funny that we found back the first demo we made of this track, and I also forgot how it sounded like. So we played it, and we were like, "Ooh!" It got a lot better over time. That's good. That's a good thing. But while making this song, we didn't have anything in mind of it being a walk-on song for a pitcher anywhere in the world, anyway. So it was just a track like any other track. We just like to go with the flow and see what comes out of that. And in the end, I mean, the track is cool, and we also played it live. We still play it live nearly every show, as well does Timmy. So it's definitely a go-to track for our crowd as well. And that the fact that Diaz picked up on it, that's just extra great. And to be really honest, now I see the whole picture together, like him walking on the field, the track in the background. We're like, okay, it's a match. It's a match.
And you see the fans going crazy. I think I like the versatility of the song, because now with the flute, you can use it as a wedding song. It won't be so bad with the trumpets are blaring and Here Comes the Bride. No, Here Comes the Bride. Here comes Narco, Timmy Trumpets, and the couple walking in together. I think the flute will take the little edge off so that the mother-in-law and father-in-laws aren't ready to kill them.
True that. And maybe what we could do as a prank, that Fluties, the flute accounts on YouTube, they make and maybe we should do a Narco as well. Yeah, exactly, that thing. That would be so funny. So I think we should work on that this week.
Yeah,
as a prank.
Cool.
Yeah, have you haven't released the flute version, have you?
No. Basically, every time we make a. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, every time we make a song, we have let's say at the end of the song we have 20 versions. My God. V1, V2, V3, and so on. So basically, this was a V1 or V2, maybe of that song Narco, and the one with the trumpet and everything in it is V20. So yeah, it's you need to start somewhere. You need to start with an ID and everything until everything comes to place, and that was with the trumpet.
He said ID. So I had a foreign exchange student named Milou Lunter from Soest, and the first time she said, "Don't you think that's a good ID?" And I go, "ID? It's idea." And she goes, "No, my teacher taught me it's ID." And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't think that's right." And I showed her how it's idea. So you just said that. It just reminded me of her. I mean, I had a great experience in the Netherlands. Went there with my family. We hung out, went all over Amsterdam and Soest and down to the beaches. We had a really good time and really good people, except for the fact that my daughter was a little traumatized walking through Amsterdam because she thought it smelled like pine cones. And I tried to explain to her those.
Yeah.
Everybody in Amsterdam loves Christmas. Christmas trees.
Yeah, I might have to make a trip to Amsterdam one day
there it is.
for other reasons, We're here with Blasterjaxx. Follow them on social media at Blasterjaxx. That's JAXX. Thom and Idir here with us on Amazin But True. And man, this song's been electric. The Mets have been fun, which has made it good because he got rid of it after 2018, 2019 comes to the Mets. He changed his song and he was trash. He had a 5.5 ERA, which if you guys aren't baseball guys, 5.5 ERA is terrible for a closer.
especially.
That means he gives up 5 runs every 9 innings, which for a guy who pitches 1 inning at a time, that is terrible. So there was one point where I said trade him for Dunkaroos. Dunkaroos were a rare item here in the States. It's like a cookie treat that people when they participate in Christmas trees, they might eat them and dip them in after smoking some trees. I was saying trade him. Now he's the closer of a lifetime, and he's been great. Have you guys had group texts with Timmy? Have you been talking about the hype around it? Do you guys text each other?
Well, actually, last night I got back at 2 a.m. and I was like, okay, let's shoot Timmy a text since he's always awake.
Text at 2 a.m. to Timmy.
Yeah, 24/7. He's always on WhatsApp. So I shoot him a text. I said, bro, what's happening to Narco is insane, man. Love it. Aha, so good. Congrats, brother. That's it.
Did he respond, or is he still sleeping?
No, that's what he responded, of course. But I mean, we're both very busy touring, so I think as soon as we see each other, we're definitely gonna have a good drink on it. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Is that the only time, or you guys have collabed and done shows together as well beyond just the recording of the song, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because we just finished a new track we did after Narco. Like, I wouldn't say per se a follow-up, but yeah, more or less it is actually. So that track was we played a track together live during Timmy's set on a big festival, and I believe a week after that whole Narco thing started buzzing. So that was crazy. Yeah.
So you and Timmy are we gonna get a collab album with you two? Just an album full of trumpets at some point?
That would be good. Then you should just listen to Timmy's music overall. He's a trumpet man. But the new thing is really cool as well. But it's something different. And yeah, like I mentioned, after that, the whole Narco song blew up. So maybe we should still look again for a Narco follow-up. Even though there's a lot of pressure. Because to be honest, for the last 4 years, we tried to make a follow-up for Narco already. And it's basically impossible. That track is so unique in its way that whenever you try to make something similar, it's gonna sound like Narco, and you don't want that.
Right. What's the name of the new track?
Right now there's no name yet.
Faro. It's Faro.
Oh shit! There is a name.
Breaking news. What is it called? Faro?
What was it?
It's Faro. So that basically the thing is it's a long story short, and we go a little bit off topic, but anyways, there's some really weird cultural house tune, whatever. It's a very weird genre of a track, and it was in one of my playlists by accident. I listened to it, and I was like, okay, that's a weird song with some Spanish sounding vocals, whatever. I reached out to the artist. He sent me the vocals. He was like, yo, yeah, you can have a look and play around with it. We worked on the track. Apparently the vocals we chose were like some sort of an anthem for a specific community inside Spain somehow. Yeah, a lot of coincidences. If you can still follow, I hope.
Oh yeah.
And anyways, we played the track out. There was like a huge buzz because everyone was texting us like, "Whoa, you guys recognize our specific subculture within Spain," and we were like, "Oh, whoa, that's coincidence." To me, it sounded Spanish. I didn't know any better, to be honest. But I mean, I'm not so into that language. So yeah, that's what we did, and basically the story is I translated it, singing about love for the water, blah blah blah, and the love on the beach. We were like beach, lighthouse. Lighthouse means faro in that language. That's it. Long story short.
Oh, okay. Beach lighthouse. All right, I got it. Faro. So this Narco you named after the TV show? Is that what I read right?
Yeah. The thing was, we are not always that original with any titles given to tracks. I mean, I mean, back then Narcos was huge, and the sound was like that Latin kind of bit of gangster feel here and there. Yeah, that's so. Yeah.
Idir, you had a follow up to that?
No. No. I'm just thinking about how we're gonna name Narco 2.
Yeah,
that's good enough, right?
Can we come up with a name, Figgy? You got anything off the top of your head? Can we give him a top?
I was thinking about Loco.
Loco? I think Diaz deserves his own name, or just call it Edwin or something. I don't know. Just Edwin. Just I don't
Let's
know.
go for Diaz then.
Diaz,
Diaz.
Diaz a little bit. What's interesting is like the lyrics. You try to listen in. Did you guys just sample those? Here's my southern slang. I speak it every day. I'm trying to get it popping. This is like
Each and every way.
This is the white boy version.
Oh, man.
This is the white men can't jump reading.
Yeah.
Each and every way. It's one nation under goons. My goons are stripping all these cats down to their underoos, close to Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos, right?
Yeah,
Worst
that'll be the next
vocal
song.
ever.
Dunkaroos.
Yes.
Tell me
it
how
was
that
a
came
sample.
about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Oh.
basically, while making the track, we had no big vision on this one. We just wanted to have a track to play in the set, whatever. And we just needed to have a vocal just for the atmosphere. You know, we want to have atmosphere. We're like, we just take something from any vocal packs we bought in the past, pitch it down a bit, sounds cool, whatever he's saying. We had no clue. I didn't know till like 2 years ago what he was saying. So the vocal is on there. And I was like, the last couple of weeks, I was like, let's look up what the lyrics are. First of all, there are 5 different lyrics on Google. So I was like, one of them should be the good one. I was reading them. I was like, what is this?
Has nothing to do with the song.
Absolutely nothing.
The funny part was that we picked that vocal just for like to play it live to start with, and then we're gonna change it at the end. You know, we're gonna change it for original vocal. But then we liked the vocal in there, and it was already in there for half a year. So we're like, okay, screw it, we're gonna go with this vocal.
It's one. I mean, there's been some hit songs, Figgy, that have just terrible lyrics. I mean, Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay. Like, what does that even mean? A bunch of hit rap songs that don't make sense. These lyrics don't make a ton of sense, but I mean,
it works.
It works. It's incredible.
It works.
Thank you very much. Actually, I was hoping you guys could explain me the lyrics, because to me, it doesn't make sense yet.
Oh, please don't get him rapping. Please.
Let me do my urbandictionary.com. So
Yeah.
here's my southern slang. It's a certain southern slang. I speak it every day. So you speak in a southern slang every day. Trying to get it popping. We're trying to get popping, trying to get this slang popping each and every way. It's one nation under goons. Figgy, could you describe it's one nation under goons?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. Well, it's one nation under God is the Pledge of Allegiance. So under goons instead. And I can't describe my goons are stripping all these cats to the underoos. I mean, they're
That's
getting
your favorite
naked.
line.
Yeah, I guess they're just getting people are getting naked at the end of this.
That
So
works great at a festival.
yeah,
Look, it works.
We'll celebrate that. So so if you guys do perform this, now you said you're working on this. How does it work? Does Timmy bring out an actual like trumpet and they put in the speaker and you guys are DJing behind him? Tell us how the set will work at Citi Field so we could just envision this scene in October of you guys.
If it would happen, which I'm
When it
not sure
happens.
about, imagine it would happen. Like I can't do any promises, but imagine it would happen in the most ideal world. It's probably just me jumping behind the booth, pressing play because it's one track, and Timmy will play a bit, indeed, with his trumpet connected to a mic, and that's it. And no, I have no clue.
In studio, he's like a really good trumpeter. Like he's a star on the trumpet because I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, he's not just in the studio, but also live. As far as I know, he even played in the Royal Orchestra for, I believe, Australia or some other country. I believe Australia. So he definitely has a background as an actual trumpetist.
Timothy Jude Smith is his name. He sounds like a choir boy. He sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, because Jake Brown's so hardcore.
Hang out with him. He's not a choir boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I can tell you, he's wild.
All right. Well, if this happens, we're doing shots with Thom, Idir, and Timmy for sure. Can't wait to see this happen. Before we let you go, tell us what you guys are up to, what you got coming out in the coming weeks here.
Yeah. We just released a new track, Out the Sky, together with Baus, which is also an American and Chinese duo. Very cool guys. Have a look at our Spotify, Apple Music, Twitter, Instagram, Blasterjaxx.com, and you will find your information there.
Blasterjaxx.com. Baus. That's what they call me sometimes in the streets as well, Figgy. Baus. here in New York City. Well,
that's POS, P-O-S.
Get the hell out of here. Thom and Idir, Blasterjaxx.com. Go check them out. And I'm hoping we see you guys in October at Citi Field. Obviously, can't give it away, but when it happens, if it happens, we'll be glad. And we're excited for you guys. And Edwin, you might have to take Edwin out for dinner because he's boosting these streams up through the wazoo. And we're glad for you guys and we're glad for him. And let's go Mets. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. Thank you so much.
I have one question. More question. Is it possible, like, to get to swap T-shirts with Edwin?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it would be cool to get a T-shirt from him with his autograph or something, and He gets
Idir,
our T-shirt.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he has your size.
Oh, shots fired between the duo. It's like me and
Love
Figgie.
it, bro.
He calls me fat all the time, Figgie.
Oh,
God
no,
damn.
no.
Come on.
That's
Jesus.
PHAT. Pretty
No,
hot and tempting.
It's called dad bods. That's what it is. All right, so we'll send this to Edwin. So you autograph jersey,
That'll be
transcribe for you guys, and we'll make it
Hey,
happen.
afterwards,
Awesome.
we'll get your information. This way I can have that sent out to you.
Perfect, man. That
You got it.
Sounds good.
All
All
right,
right.
boss. Take
Appreciate
care.
you guys coming on. Take care.
All right.
Hey guys,
guys.
thank you very much. Bye bye.
All right, Figgy, that'll say goodbye to episode 117 of Amazing But True, our Mets podcast from the New York Post. Thanks to Blasterjaxx for joining us. They were fun.
And thanks to you, Jake and Andrew Hartz, for producing the show. Catch up on all episodes of Amazing But True by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us all on Twitter at Amazing But True, at FiggieNY, and at Jake Brown Radio.
Yeah, I like that they at least tease that there's a chance. It seems like the Mets have contacted them. They're trying to make it happen. I didn't even factor in the visa thing. They're in the Netherlands. Cool accents. You love to hear different accents. They clearly like to party.
Yep.
We got a party with Thom and Idir. Thom Jongkind. He didn't even give me the exact. I asked him before we started how do you pronounce. He's like, yeah, that's
close
the
enough.
American version.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my White Men Can't Jump UrbanDictionary.com reading of the lyrics. And when you really break down those lyrics, they make absolutely no sense. But it is the number 3 song on the charts. It's unbelievable what Diaz has done.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's just the rhythm, the feeling, and what you know it signifies is that the game is over when Diaz comes in.
0 runs since June. I mean, it is just unbelievable what Edwin Diaz is doing. It's unbelievable what the Mets are doing. Packing Citi Field. What a weekend at the ballpark. Good to meet a lot of people out there. And, you know, new listeners of the program. Hope you enjoy the show and tune in the rest of the season. And should be some fun weeks ahead. It's good to be back in the studio, although it is 100 degrees and I'm sweating. I'm really sorry to my dietitian, I got to say. I did have Pig Beach barbecue Sunday. I had ribs, cornbread, fries,
Yeah,
a
it
little
sounds
mac
like
and
everything
cheese.
he told you to eat.
Everything she told me not to eat. And then, yesterday, then lobster roll for lunch. Night before I had Amore pizza.
So wait a minute. You were
Danny was pouring up the drinks well in Delta.
What were you down to?
I got to 228.
228.
I do the scale every day. It goes like 228, 230, 229, 231.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I get down to 225 or something?
Okay, so first of all, do you weigh yourself with the same clothing every time?
I get butt ass naked.
Jesus,
Because I have to get all layers off because I feel better about myself when the weight is. I'm not going to put shorts and have my phone or shirt on or shoes. I want to get. I put it in my living
Shorts
room.
on your phone.
I'm
What?
butt naked. As I'm still looking for a roommate, hopefully locking in a new one.
What does butt naked and a roommate have to do?
Well, just to make sure the roommate's not there. He's in the other room. He'll usually be at work. I get butt naked, get on the scale, and check my weight, which is fluctuating. But I talked to the dietitian on Thursday, the 25th, when the Mets open their next homestand. So let me get my weight out before they return home. I got 2 games in the Bronx, Mets, Yankees,
Pre
Monday,
or
Tuesday.
post poop?
It's probably pre-poop. Should I do it post-poop?
Yes, of course.
All right, so let me take a dump and then weigh myself butt naked. Oh God! I think that's enough butt naked to use. By next week, I'll have a roommate and a couple pounds off me.
I guarantee you're not going to get a roommate now.
For Nelson Figueroa, thanks to Andrew Hartz. I'm Jake Brown. We'll return next Monday before the Subway Series in the Bronx. Are you off next Monday? Is the question.
I am, but we're in Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I was going to say, come to the Bronx with me. We'll go to the Subway Series. I might be going with Constantine Maroulis to one
Nice.
of the games. So maybe we'll sing the national anthem together or something. Or sing Can't Stop, Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop
Is it
Believing.
Can't Stop or Don't Stop? Don't Stop Believing. Hearts is like, please shut up now. We'll see you next Monday for the Subway Series. Thanks to Blasterjaxx, Andrew Hartz, Nelson Figueroa. For Jake Brown, Andrew Hartz, Nelson Figueroa. I've said our name 6 times. That's enough. Thanks for listening to Amazing But True. Figgy, as always, no Zoom delay. Let's go Mets. Perfectly on cue. Peace.